So good afternoon, everyone. First of all, on behalf of the DNV team, I would like to welcome you to this workshop. Thank you very much for your attendance and the interest on this topic. The DNV team is very pleased to have the opportunity to present you this topic, why the ISO 19443 is a real breakthrough in the supply chain of the nuclear energy sector. Before going ahead, I'd like just to specify that this is about civil nuclear energy production that we will be addressing during this presentation. Before starting and diving into the topic, a few words of introduction. First of all, about DNV. DNV is a world-class leader in the risk management, safety and quality assurance industry with a very long and solid experience, together with international networks that allow us to deliver our service to domestic and global company. To find out more, do not hesitate to come and visit us. We have a booth C8 located not so far away, where our team will be delighted to welcome you and to give you more information. Second, about me and my colleague Thierry. So first myself, my name is Arnaud Torcheux. I am the PMO Regional Manager for DNV Business Assurance Division. I've been working in this industry for quite a long time, 30 years now, of which 18 years was mainly overseas in Asia, where I have held a number of different management positions. To join me and help me on stage today is our industry expert, Thierry Boulier. Thierry?
Good afternoon. My name is Thierry Boulier. So I have been working for nuclear industry during more than 15 years. My job was to monitor the qualification of equipment important for safety and also to perform audits in France and foreign countries. I will try to explain to you why the ISO 19443 is a real breakthrough for the supply chain.
Thank you, Thierry. So let's proceed. Just before going into the detail and diving into the topic, I'd like to make a few comments to put things in perspective and to set the scene. First of all, I think it's important to highlight that the nuclear industry is still very active today. We can see that indeed. There are more than 50 power plants in construction today. We know that there is over 130 power plants in basic design stage. I think, in addition, the recent development has confirmed that nuclear energy has still a significant role to play in the path of decarbonization, so we can expect even more construction to come in the future. Now, this being said, I think this makes the introduction of this new scheme, the ISO 19443, which is the quality management system dedicated to the nuclear industry, even more relevant to consider. Why? First of all, it is becoming a ticket to trade in the industry. The certification against this standard is becoming a basic requirement to make business in the industry. Some market player has already started to make this requirement mandatory for their supplier. And if we look at other industry, it's very likely to follow a similar trend. We have seen that in the automotive industry, in the aerospace industry, in the food and beverage industry, where specific quality management system has been introduced and widely adopted among all the supply chain, all that to better address the specific requirement of this industry. At the same time, this standard is not only an additional constraint to comply with. I think it brings a lot of internal benefit. We will detail that further. But just in a nutshell, it is based on the aerospace industry, which faces very similar type of challenge. Very high quality and safety requirement, as you know, combined with a rather low volume of production. And this standard, the same way that it has been done in the aerospace, has tried to combine the different requirement and standard that is at the moment applicable to this industry into a unique quality framework. Quickly, what it says, it helps you to meet customer expectation, and it makes it even easier for you to do so. Thierry will now give you a bit more concrete information about this scheme, so you better understand what it is about. So Thierry, first of all, can you explain to us why the ISO 19443 has been created?
Thank you, Arno. Yes, of course. Probably for three main reasons, which could be identified in this slide. So safety culture is very important and must be spread to the entire supply chain. ISO 9443 is ISO 9001 with additional quality assurance requirements comes from different customers, for instance, from French ones, from Belgium, from Chinese, from Russian, and all the quality requirements from them are now included in these standards. For instance, for EDF, the general quality assurance requirements is included from Rosatom, from all of those. This standard, it's an international standard, so it's a multi-language, and this can help you to work together. I can explain two examples. In power plants, sensors and actuators are used in the main building, in the nuclear building, and they must be connected with low voltage cables. These cables must be qualified against radiations to provide power supply and also remote control. The qualification, after the qualification, they will be manufactured in the factory. So this kind of factory manufactures many cables a day, and it is very important that the staff and the operators can understand what kind of requirements they have to organize in their job. Another experience is about valves control. During when I have to organize the validation of the transfer of production of valves from USA and for France to China, I had to, Chinese must understand the requirements, the quality assurance requirements for French and also for US parties. And it was not easy for them because there are requirements added to ISO 9001, and with this standard, this new standard, it would be easier for everyone to understand what the needs. So, what is the added value of ISO 19443 compared to ISO 9001? We have grouped the additional requirements into three main groups. The first group is to improve your risk management. As an example, we can highlight to identify an independent member of the management which has the authority to manage nuclear activities, and also to have an adaptive approach for quality assurance requirements about customers' needs. Why? Because commercial and nuclear products are different and must be selected during the quality assurance requirements must be identified in the order. The third could be the counterfeit, fraudulent and suspect items, because they are wrong items and must be identified, and they don't have to go to the supply chain. So same different products requirements, but for them you can have a different documentation, in follow-up different, and also the measurements are also different. For suppliers which are producing equipment for the supply chain, these standards for some quality requirements are new, but some of them are already existing. But it's important to do a matrix to identify the gap. The second group is to improve a better supply chain management. Why it is important? The last construction, the last power plant in construction in France, Finland, England, during this construction appears many problems. Many problems are detected. How about delay? How about CFS? And also non-conformities. This costs a lot for all parties. The goal is to share a unique standard, to communicate easily in all the supply chain, and also to have an interrogative attitude. The first group is to have a more effective control of production in collaboration with the customer. For instance, to plan the control in accordance with the whole supply chain and also with the customers. About in quality plans, with witness and whole points, for instance, and also to share with the customers about the modification, because you are producing the serial equipment, and it must be, and the modification must be detected and communicate to the customer and to the final customers to guarantee the qualification of the serial production. Also, non-conformities and counterfeit, fraudulent, and suspect items. But we think a digital solution will appear in the next months to secure the document exchange with a specific platform between all the suppliers of the chain, of the supply chain. Why this is important? It's to reduce the time to exchange information and documentation, because time is money for all of us.
So thank you, Thierry, for all this explanation. So by now you should have a better understanding on what this new scheme is about. Now the question is to understand whether it's a good project for you to dedicate some time and resource, because indeed you will see that there is a number of things to be done, a number of requirements to comply with. So at the end, is it worth your time, and is it worth to invest some time, and what is the return of investment of the implementation of the ISO 19443? So let me take you through some of the main benefits that you will see from the implementation of this scheme. First of all, be among the first to be certified. I mean, it's always good to be first in the market, you know that. It's allow you to get better recognition, obviously, from the potential customer. It differentiates from the competitor. At the same time, it will also show you your proactiveness and focus in achieving highest quality and safety standards. So at the end, it should really give you a boost to increase your sales. The second return investment we see is a reduced cost. You have seen through the one common audit, the fact that through this scheme you will be able to demonstrate compliance through the different standards, through a common approach. It will reduce the internal effort to meet the several market and customer requirements. So that means less audit days, less audit costs, and less also time for you to be spent being audited. So a number of clear cost cutting here. The third, given the recognition, the international recognition of the ISO standard, the ISO 19443 is part of the ISO standard families, and as such, it is recognized across the world. So it will ease the opening of the international market for you, and it will make easy for you to sell your products across the world. Finally, and not the least, the scheme also drives, as you have seen, some improvement in your safety and the quality management system through an integrated approach. It will result in less accidents and in less product non-conformity. So at the end, you see, it's a very good business case that you could, should be able to convince you to consider the implementation of this scheme. Now, what will be the next step? By now, you should be hopefully interested. You should also be convinced that it is probably worth going and putting some resource into these projects. So where should we start? How to get ready? So let me give you a couple of advice on the way to proceed. First of all, I think a good starting point is to have a clear understanding on where you stand. Probably, a number of the requirements are already in place in your company, but maybe you are not completely sure, if you comply with all of them. So let's start, with a self-assessment. I mean, it will take you through a list of specific checkpoints to confirm your current status against a different requirement applicable. Now, DNV has made it easy for you to do that. Now, you may have seen that in your share, so this is not a magic wand, but it may work magic anyway. You just can use it to access a free online tool that we have developed that will take you very easily through the different checklists and tell you a bit where it is a gap. So when you have the better understanding on what is a gap, you can build a clear path to the successful certification using a number of tools to assist you along the way. There's some training, gap analysis, blank audit, that will hopefully take you to the right direction until you get the full certification against this standard. All along the way, our team will be happy to help, especially on the training, where we have ready to provide customized training, depending on the profile, the type of activity, remote or on-site, depending on your need, together with very practical exercise to really give you a clear understanding on what is the requirement of the standard. Again, for more information, do not hesitate to visit our team. They will stand ready to give you additional information. Finally, once again, I would like to thank you for your attendance. Thierry and myself and the team will remain available if you have further questions. There is a booth here where we can take your question if you have any. Our team over there will stand ready to welcome you and again address your further question. And we really look forward to seeing you again and being in touch with you. Thank you again and have a good day. Oh, and by the way, so for the magic wand to work, you have to scan the QR code. Simple, I think you all know how to do that. So good luck with that. Thanks.